Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Joseph McKnight, and I am back for another Wind Down Wednesday. So grab your cup and come join me, and let's talk. So this week, I really want to talk a little bit about leave of absence, FMLA, COVID pay, all that jazz. More than ever, with everything going on with the pandemic and all these new rules and COVID and vaccines, a lot of people want to know, what options do I have? What are the things that my job may or may not give me to protect me? Where if I get sick or someone in my family gets sick, I can make sure I'm taking the time to care for them. So let's jump in. Number one, the biggest thing is FMLA, the Federal Medical Leave Act of 1993. Now, let me just tell you, and please listen to me. FMLA is an unpaid benefit. That means ain't no check coming. When you're on FMLA, you don't get paid unless your job has additional sick time or LOA pay that they give you. FMLA, you don't get paid. It's unpaid leave time. All it is job protection. So the point of FMLA is only saying for up to 12 weeks in a rolling 12-month period, if on certain conditions, which I'll jump to in a minute, you can have time off for those conditions. That's it. All it's doing is protecting your job. So if you take all 12 weeks, just 3 months, then when you come back, you'll still have your job or a similar job. That's all it's saying. But you will not get paid during that time unless you have some short-term, disability, some leave that you've already built up, vacation time, PTO, things like that. It's unpaid. Stop asking me and your HR professional if you're going to get paid on FMLA. No, boo, you are not getting paid.
No.
You're not getting paid unless you add some stuff to the FMLA. It's zero money. Now, who qualifies for FMLA? One, you have to work for a covered employer. That means an employer that has 50 or more employees. And usually it's generally employees in like a certain location. But, the law sometimes gets a little bit gray in that area. But usually 50 more employees. Also, you have to work 1,250 hours for that employer within the last 12 months. And you've had to work for that employer for 12 months. So if you've been with us 10 months, no, you don't cover for FMLA. See me in 2 months, boo. We're not having an FMLA conversation. That's it. Period. Point blank. Those are the basic tenets of you being able to get FMLA. One, for the birth of a child or like the adoption of a child. Bringing new life into the home qualifies you for an FMLA event. The second thing, to care for a family member. Now, be clear, that's not to care for Ray Ray, Nene and them and your cousin and them and Pookie and them. That's really for, think about bereavement. When you get the days off, who's in your close family? It is for a spouse, a child, a parent. And care doesn't mean, I take them to their doctor's appointment on Monday. It's for some serious things. I know people who have to take their parents a couple times a week to dialysis or for cancer treatments. Those kind of serious things that you have to have full-time care for. Like a lot of the other times I've seen people that move their parent into the house with them, and their parent requires that full-time or part, a lot of hours of care. You can qualify. The last reason is for yourself. If you have a serious medical condition, you have certain, knee surgery, hip surgery, and you need to be out for a couple of weeks, FMLA protects you from those types of events. But again, I said it before, I'm going to say it now, it's unpaid. There's no money tied to an FMLA. Now, you have other benefits. Usually, with a job, they have an LOA policy, which is a leave of absence policy. And that's broader, not as far as the legal standpoint, because FMLA is a federal law, but LOA policy usually covers any type of leave. Sick leave, FMLA, short-term disability, long-term disability, all of those things, and how you're able to take time away from work. There's also sometimes PLOAs, personal leave of absence, where maybe you need to go on a sabbatical. Maybe you have a situation where I've seen people during COVID, their child would be in school all day long. and then they got home from work the same time their child gets home from school. But now your child is doing the virtual school, so now you need to be home with your child. So there's a lot of reasons why people take LOA that's just bigger than medically related reasons. So that's one thing really to keep in mind with an LOA. And then when you break down those buckets, you really have to understand how your company operates and dictates time. So some companies have sick time. Like there's certain states, California, New York, New Jersey, that stipulate companies must give a minimum amount of sick leave to their employees. Now, what some employers do is you won't see it coded as sick time because they roll it into your PTO, paid time off. We're basically saying at your discretion, you can take the paid time off. So just be careful you understand those rules. Like for instance, I was working recently in New Jersey, and you have to offer at least 48 hours of sick time. So with that, a lot of companies, like the companies I work for, they give more than that time in PTO. So that's kind of how they cover themselves from the law. So just make sure you understand that you may not see the sick time by itself because it may fall under your PTO bucket. And then also too, sometimes you got vacation as well. So I know a lot of times when someone wants to go out of FMLA, once we approve that, the question is, how do you want to get paid? Because it's an unpaid benefit. Sometimes we apply vacation or PTO or sick time. Or some companies, and this is really what you want to look into, have a short-term disability where they pay you if you're going to be out for continuous leave. And continuous means like, for multiple weeks. For continuous leave, they will pay you a short-term disability, usually about 60% or 70% of your earnings, and that kind of helps cover. There are also companies that offer you to be able to pay additionally into supplemental like short-term disability, where if you do go out, you've already put some money aside that way will help cover your paycheck and the cost. And usually it's such a nominal amount because it's almost like getting insurance where you're just paying the premium. So it's like, it could be a couple dollars a week or bi-weekly or monthly or whenever you get paid. So those are things you want to look into that works best for you and your family. But again, remember, if it's like an FMLA situation, it might not be paid. What are the buckets that you got going on to help you get paid? Because we all want to get paid. Like, that's why I don't understand why y'all be using FMLA all the damn time, because you ain't getting paid. I would love to go out on FMLA, but I need my check every other week. That's important to me.
It's my money and I need it now.
So make sure you understand that. And with COVID, it's really, really interesting now as well because companies are just rolling out their COVID policies and their COVID pay. So understand, if you get COVID, how many days do you have to quarantine? Does your job offer COVID pay? What does that mean for you? Also, a lot of jobs are saying if you're exposed to someone, so if someone in your household or someone that you work with goes out for COVID-related reasons, you might have to quarantine as well. A lot of jobs give you the flexibility to work from home, but still, I know a lot of people that they've got to go in every day. And so if you're not going in, how are you making that money and still being able to support yourself? So make sure you understand the COVID policy and rules, and also understand when you're being told to quarantine. I've seen a lot of people have these issues where, they're like, hey, I've been exposed to COVID, so I'm going out for 2 weeks. And the job was like, okay, you can do whatever you want. We won't ding you for that. We'll see you in 14 days. But then they're like, well, where's my pay? And the job was like, it wasn't an employer mandated quarantine. So really take the time to understand these rules at your job and these policies, because they're ever changing. I mean, every week we come up with a new COVID rule or policy. So make sure you're taking the time to look at that and understand. And even the travel piece, I'm in Atlanta, so Atlanta wide, all the way open, people acting all kind of fool like it's Freaknik or something. But just know, I've seen it too, where certain states, certain countries, as you travel, when you come back, you have to quarantine. So you may have to factor in, hey, I'm going to Mexico for 4 days, but the state I'm in says you got to quarantine 2 weeks after. Are you going to be able to go to work once you quarantine and come back? You got to really start thinking about all these things and having these conversations. It's super, super important to make sure you do that. So yes, I know I high level talked about a lot of things. So if you have specific questions or topics you want me to delve more into. Like I didn't even bring up the ADA, the American Disability Act. There are a lot of things when it relates to your leave protections and accommodations that you should know as an employee. Drop a comment. Let me know. What are the things that you have questions about? And I'll make sure that I'll get back to you and answer. Thank you so much for joining me again for Wind Down Wednesdays. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next week for another Wind Down Wednesdays, where I dive deep into your HR and workplace topics. And don't forget to follow me on my Instagram at Joseph McKnight and drop me a question, and I might answer it on my next Feedback Friday. See you guys soon, and you have a great week.